Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to episode number 21 in our All of Fabric 5 modded Minecraft series. I was getting ready to tear down this bridge that was from the original village, and I really kind of like some things about it, and I need a bridge that spans across this way. And so I thought I'm going to kind of mirror some of this to kind of make a tie-in to the old village that was here before I destroyed it. So I just decided on where I want to put my pillars. I have like the two endpoints, and then there's a pillar that's 3 blocks away from each of them, and then in the middle there's 5 blocks between that middle pillar, which is going to be a little taller, I think. And so I'm just going to start working out some of that stuff and laying out where I want to put, or like how I want to do the top of it and that kind of thing. But I wanted to show you that old one beforehand because I'm going to be ripping it out as I go because I'm using the blocks from it. I still have a lot of decorating to do, changing out blocks and changing up the path, but the structure I think is there. I did change the first arch a little bit. I swapped out a slab here for a stair to give it a little more structure looking. I think I'm gonna have to change some of these blocks out for stairs as well to make them look a little, to not be so weighty, basically. So like doing stuff like that. We'll do a little bit of tweaking there before I get moving. One thing I'm not sure about is I made it 3 wide because our path is 3 wide. But I feel like because it's such a big, tall bridge, I might want it to go 5 wide. So I think I'm going to change it out and see how that looks, and then decide. We are recording on the next day. I got some more work done on the bridge, but then I started having some technical problems with my OBS recordings, and I was getting frustrated, so I decided to take a break. Let me go sleep so we can see this in the daytime. As far as the bridge goes, I've gotten most of the structure of it done. I just want to work on our block choices so that we can make it look a little more like a worn bridge and match the paths. And I think that I was thinking about it all night, and I think that I may lower the bridge down just a little bit. It's going to be a pain to do, but I feel like this height, for even though it's a big river crossing, this bridge is almost as tall as my frickin' barn. So I think it's just a little too tall. But that's going to mean adjusting all the arches down in the middle. But I think that won't be too bad. So I'm going to change that up, and then I'll be right back, and we'll see how we like that better. Alright, I have gotten the bridge lowered down. As far as the structure goes, I think that's a huge, huge difference. And I like it a lot better. It's simplified it a little bit, and it has made it fit in a little bit better. Because this is just a normal path across a small river. It's nothing grandiose, nothing huge. And then it's got a nice long flat expanse across the top. And it's not so large that it's overpowering. You know, it's still pretty high up, but it's not bigger than the buildings around it. And I think I'm happy with it. So I'm going to put the railing back on. Okay, I have finished all the changes for the bridge for right now. I swapped it out so that most of the path is made out of andesite because it matches a little more, and it's a very subtle change, but some of it is made with stone slabs instead of andesite. And then I have a few spots where cobblestone comes through where it looks like the path is worn a bit. That's the same up here. There's some stone andesite, and it continues the whole way through. I had originally been using some smooth stone slabs, but I thought they stood out too much because of the border on them, so I pulled them out. As far as the sides go, I changed up a couple spots here to make it look like it had a little more structure, and then the arch I brought out a second level of arch to kind of make it look a little more rounded instead of that T shape that was there, and just finished a few more touches. I do want to go back in and add some more things like mossy stone, but I also want to finish this riverbed before I do that. And right now I'm out of dirt, so I'm going to come back to this at another time, because pretty soon when I set up my quarry, I will have dirt coming in. And I know dirt is everywhere, but I don't really want to rip out large sections of dirt like I did over there when I was first doing this, because then it just gives me places that I have to fix later. So I'm going to set up my quarry to supply me with dirt so I can fill that back in. And then we're going to fill in some of this to make this section of the river a little more shallow. And I'm probably going to bring that bank in a little closer so that it is not quite as wide here. Because I kind of want to make this river through here a little more narrow, because we're going to have buildings on both sides of the bank. So we're probably going to bring both edges in just a little closer. There's also another bridge farther down here that's like an original bridge. You can see it right down there. We're probably just going to redo that one a little bit and leave it there. And then that'll be the extent of where the village goes through. And I think that'll be nice. It gives us a big area to expand into. But this river project's going to be a big one, so it's going to wait for another day. Originally I had a dark spot right here, so I put in a piece of glowstone under either side of this hedge. And if you look on the other side of the bridge, there is a spot right here where it's the same way, but once I put the hedges in on this side, when the path continues, we'll fix that. So right now everything's lit up really nice. I think it looks pretty good. I may change out some of the cobblestone on the railings too, but for now I think I'm going to let it go. I don't want to risk overworking it. So the next thing I want to work on in this episode is take a break from doing some of the building stuff, and I want to get started on doing some more mob farming things. So we have our blaze farm over here, and when I built the blaze farm, I put in the vector plates underneath, which allows all the mobs, all the blazes to get pushed into the corner. The other thing is that I did not light anything up in there. I could have, because the blaze spawners would have worked with the light, but I didn't, specifically because when I'm away from here, on top of the vector plates, mobs will spawn. And so if you come down here and look at our collection, there's a lot of various things. Zombie drops, skeleton drops. Don't know what I just picked up that gave me that. That's weird. I thought I picked up a piece of cobblestone, but apparently there was a radiating ender from a spectrum. Okay. But so even enderman will spawn in there, so we get occasional ender pearls. So it gives us a nice amount of small mob drops. The two things I want to do as far as mob farming goes, and I started to do part of this, is for one, I have made a path here where I can run a cable for my applied energistics system. I want to connect it up so that I can put in an import bus on this chest or barrel, so that we can pull these drops in automatically instead of going to get them. And then the other thing is I want to get started using the mob utility that we have in this pack. I think it's not that one. It is Deep Mob Learning. I keep getting the names confused. But so Deep Mob Learning is a mod that basically uses a simulation chamber for you collect data on mobs, and then it runs a simulation where it would spawn mobs in a virtual environment and collect their drops. The idea is to be able to make a mob farm without actually having to spawn in all the mobs. So I want to get started on getting some of these things built so that we can get started with it and start collecting some mob data. So I'm going to get a few things made so that we can get started on it, and then we will get a place together where we're going to build it and get started. Thought we'd actually do some of the stuff with deep mob learning together. The first thing that you need is to get some soot covered redstone. And so all you do to do that is you put down a block of coal, and you left click with redstone on the coal, and it turns into soot covered redstone. And we do actually have a quest book chapter all about deep mob learning, so we're going to follow through what it says in that. So the next thing to do is craft a soot machine casing. So for that, I'm going to need to make some soot plates, have some soot covered redstone. So this uses obsidian. I may need to set up a system to get obsidian, but I'm going to actually teach it how to make these soot plates. Since we actually have an auto crafting system, we might as well utilize it. Teach it how to make some of the things that we're going to make. So let's put this soot covered redstone in there. And let's see. Let's move this down here, and then we'll use this section to put all of our deep mob learning stuff. Trying to keep things a little organized so I know what's what. So I think we're going to need a few of these. So let's make 30 to start. And that should finish chapter for us, I think. Oh no, we actually need to make the soot machine casing. So the soot machine casing, I think we're going to need several of those too, so let's teach the system how to make those. And we'll put that in right down here. For now, we're just going to make the one to finish the quest. Should take more than a minute. Okay. This time we're going to open up our rewards as we go, because there very well may be some that are related to what we're making. We're going to put those in there. So after the soot machine casing, there's 3 machines we're going to need to make: a loot fabricator, a matter condenser, and a simulation chamber. I'm not going to teach the system how to make these because I don't think I'm going to need that many of them. So what we're going to do is go to deep mob learning. The machines are matter condensator. Ooh, there's things in here we don't have yet, so that's going to have to wait. Simulation chamber. Cyan dye. That's a random one. Let's make some comparators. I don't know that. I think that I don't think I have green dye yet. I never went to get cactus. Can I make this? Okay, good. I do have some green dye that way. Just enough to make it. We're going to have to make a trip out to find a desert for sure, though. Okay, so there's the simulation chamber. So we'll take that reward. So the simulation chamber. You provide the simulation chamber with energy and place in some polymer clay in the top right slot that has an E in it. Now you have to put one of your data models into the simulation machine. Shift left click on a data module in your inventory to move it to the simulation chamber. That's, I don't know what, that's obvious. Once the simulation chamber has a data model that is a minimum of basic tier, some clay and some energy, it will start running simulations. So basically you make these data modules that have data on different mobs. You run them through the simulation chamber and it will output matter, either overworldian, hellish matter, extraterrestrial, or twilight matter. So you get data on an overworld mob, you put it in, you get overworldian matter, and then the overworldian matter is this stuff here. So let's see the uses that you use for it. So if you craft using that with a few other ingredients, you end up with mob drops. And so what I can do is I can set it up so that we run this simulation, we import the overworld matter into the system, and then we provide it with the items, and we get these drops. So basically, since I have all the auto crafting set up, as long as I have a way for the overworld matter to get put in, and the basic things we need to craft the different things, we have now auto crafting recipes for all the things from this, all the mob drops. And then we can also get the same thing using the hellish matter. Gives you all the drops that you would want from the nether. And then the extraterrestrial matter is all the ends things. So once we get some of the things from the end, we can create more and more using drops that we have. So basically it's just a way to produce mob drops without having to fight a whole lot of mobs. And then there's a few other things to do with the pack. So let's keep going and get the rest of these things built from our quests. We'll take this. Let's see what that gives us. A tank. Never have enough tanks. So then the next thing we need to create is matter condenser. That's the one that needs the physically condensed matrix fragment, which is something we will only get from doing the trials. We'll get to those in a little bit. The loot fabricator. So the loot fabricator, yeah, again, we're going to need to get some of the matter before we can make it. But so what this block does is you take in different pristine matter, which is another thing you get from running the simulations, and it will fabricate drops from that specific mob. So it's another way to get those mob drops from a specific mob. Okay. So let's go back to our quest book. These will have to wait a little bit until we can actually get some simulations running. The blank data module is the first thing that we need to make. So let's go back here. We'll go into deep mob learning again, and we will make a blank data module. So we need some repeaters. Okay, so let's go back and look at our quest book. So blank data modules don't do anything unless you bind it with a category. So you can get common mobs from the nether, common mobs from the overworld, slimy, rotten guys is zombie mobs, spooky, scary skeletons is all the skeleton mobs, end mobs is the ones from the end, illagers are all the different illager mobs like the evokers, and Poseidon Children is all the guardians and other mobs there. So we need to get an actual data module from that. So I think we're going to start with doing the overworld data module. So since we already have some drops from our other mob farm, we can craft that. See if we have enough to do the nether one. We're missing the gas tier, so we'll have to get that. And then I don't think I have enough for the end. Yeah, I need the shulker shells to get to the end data module. But we can look and see if we can do some specific ones. Let's do a skeleton one and a zombie one. So now we have data modules. So if we go back and look, let's take that reward first. If we go back and look here, when we look at the simulation chamber, all you need for the simulation chamber to work is a data module, some polymer clay, and some energy. So polymer clay is the last thing we need to make. Polymer clay is made with clay, lapis lazuli, gold, and iron. So we're going to make a stack of this. And I think we have everything set up that we need in order to make our first simulation chamber. Ooh. Ender dust and silicon. Always useful. Let's throw this iron in here. And for now, and we will make a room specifically for this, but for now, since we need power for it, I'm just going to set it up in here so we can do some testing with it. And we'll just put it right on the back of our power lines. Okay, so we need to insert a data module. So right now these data modules are tiered faulty. So if we look in here and go to the data modules tab, the next thing it tells us is that we need to use a deep learner. So let's get one of those and then I can show you how that works. Craft one of these. I think I have everything I need for it. Sure do. So it says if you right click it, you will be sent into its GUI. You pick your data module, put it in one of the slots. You'll be able to preview it in the left. Single deep learner supports 4 data models at the same time. Deep learner also shows the current data amount and tier. And basically all you need to do is have the deep learner with the slots in the data module slotted and then kill mobs. And the more you do, the more you learn from it. And then you'll be able to actually so we can have 4. So let's make one more data module, but then you'll actually be able to run it through the simulation chamber. So let's do one more data module. What did I need there? I needed a redstone repeater. And I'm not teaching the system how to make these because once we have learned the data modules, we don't have to make them again. There's no sense wasting that space just for that. So we're not going to have what we need for that. Same with the ghost data module. We might have this one. No, we're missing the Nautilus shell and the prismarine. Okay. The N we don't have. So let's check out the slimy one. Yep, we can do that. So you can have 4 data models in here at a time. And then basically what you just have to do is you go through and you can, all these different mobs that are listed in here now, we can go and attack them and learn data about them. And once we get enough data, it will go from faulty to basic, which means we can start running simulations. So now the next thing we need to do is just get up into the world and start killing things. So let's see if we can't find a few things to kill so that we can actually learn some. So let's eat some food first. My armor is pretty decent. May need to add some more and do some work on that. But the idea is that we kill some mobs, we learn some things from mobs, and then we are able to simulate killing those mobs in the future so that we don't have to keep doing that. Just want to make sure. I think I had... Yeah, so all it has to be is in your hotbar. That's what I wanted to make sure. I want to make sure I didn't have to have it in my offhand for it to work. I think that I actually have to kill this instead of letting it explode for that to count. So let's kill the skeleton too. So now if we go into the deep learner, we can see we've gotten 2 pieces of data from the creeper. And see if we can find the skeleton in here. Skeleton we've also gotten 2. Oh, okay, so it's not specifically the those. We've gotten 2 pieces of data for the overworld data module because we killed a creeper and a skeleton. So we just need to keep killing more mobs here in the overworld until we get that one done. And if we look under the second one, specifically the skeletons, that one says 0. Wonder if it can only feed one at a time. That's fine. We'll keep killing more mobs. Of course, it is now daytime, so all the mobs are going to disappear. Get stuck there. I'll have to fix that later. So we'll have to wait for nighttime again to get some more mob kills in. But we can kill all the different things to get all the data models filled up. Might be able to look around and see if we can kill any slimes around. We can also get data for the slimy one from killing magma cubes, which Lord knows we have a place where we can get plenty of magma cubes. So we'll keep killing mobs over time until we can get those data models done, and then in our next episode we will start actually running simulations to get the data that we can use, or the matter that we can use to generate some mob drops. One other thing we can do before we end this episode is, right now I have a diamond spike here. That's what kills the mobs automatically. If I pull that off and then I go away, I have to go far enough away that mobs will actually spawn in there. I can let those mobs spawn. Give it a few minutes. See if maybe there's slime around somewhere. See a zombie on the map up here. Wonder if he's under a tree or something. Let's go check that out while we wait for some mobs to spawn. But that way those mobs will spawn, but they won't get automatically killed. I can go down and kill them with my sword and get some data from them. Cheese it a little bit, as it were. Ooh, this mountain is hard to navigate. May have to make a path up it in the future. I'll add that to my to-do list of things to make. Okay, so zombie icon on the map right over here. Where are you hiding, zombie? Probably in this little cave here, huh? There's a snake. I see you. See you, Zombert. And then a nice little dark area. Maybe we'll get some more in here. What are you? Radiating Ender. I'll grab you. I don't know what you do, but you sound interesting since you're named after me. But yeah, so lots of different places to find mobs. Just have to keep going around and get them. But I think that's going to do it for today. I think we're getting really close to our time. So next episode we'll work more with deep mob learning and probably work on some more tech stuff since we've had a bit of a break from it. Want to try to get our power automated and start to get some quarry stuff automated. What are you? You're probably going to kill me. Let's see if I can get in here without getting murdered. Giant Yakatoa. He was probably peaceful, and I just killed him for no reason. I'm a horrible monster. But anyway, that'll do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.